Swing big and save even bigger with our Big League Markdowns at Capital Ford in Santa Fe. This is your shot at big league deals, like a new 2025 Ford F-150 XLT 4-wheel drive Power Boost Hybrid, now up to $9,900 off MSRP, or a new 2026 Ford F-250 Super Duty, now up to $6,100 off MSRP. We're offering up home run deals all day, every day, with these Big League Markdowns at Capital Ford in Santa Fe.
Who says time travel isn't possible? That you can't go back 400 years in a single afternoon to a place where free spirits still run free, where things made by hand make memories, where a getaway feels like you're getting a world away. There are so many things that make this city different, and so much more waiting to be uncovered.
Hey, welcome back to the third episode of the GloomCasts. I'm Eric Moulton, co-host tonight, along with owner, president, CEO, El Jefe, David Fresquez. What's up, man? How you doing?
Moulton, thanks for the intro. I see little Benny back there. Congratulations on kindergarten promotion. Is that it?
Kindergarten promotion. Yeah, we had graduation this weekend. Got all gowned up and hung out with his homies.
That's cool.
So, special episode for you guys tonight. I'm going to recap season 3 and then looking ahead to season 4, the Gloom. I'm not sure what place you guys finished in, but probably not the season you guys had hoped for. But you guys are building towards something much bigger, I think, in terms of the overall organization and the support from the community and sponsors, things like that. I think there's a strong momentum heading into season 4, and last year, you added a key piece to your team, David, and I'll let you introduce him, but you added a general manager, and Sergio was kind enough to join us on this show. And we're going to look at just kind of recapping season 3, but also looking at what building season 4 looks like, and kind of go through like a roster breakdown, sponsorship movement, kind of building in a business perspective, economic development, things like that. But I'll let you introduce your guest.
Yeah, Eric, thank you so much. We've got Sergio Rivas here, ex-professional soccer player with the New Mexico United, general manager for the Santa Fe Gloom. Sergio, thank you so much for jumping on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Excited to get to talking about last season and the next season and the future of Gloom. So thanks again for having me.
No, thank you, Sergio. And for our viewers and our fans, we hope to maybe see Coach Pat, but we're not certain. He's definitely invited. I know he's got some good insight. And the reason why I bring up Coach Pat was because the last time, Sergio, I think you were on was with Coach Pat. And my last question was, what was the prediction for our season opening game? And you guys both, Sergio, I think you said 2-0. Coach Pat said like 8-2 or something like that. However, Sergio, I'm going to tee it up for you right now is, what were we thinking when it was 6-0 against Flagship and our season opener? And we were on the 0 side. What was the locker room conversation? What was you and Pat thinking? Because like I mentioned, we thought we were going to come hot off the gate. Eric, you were at that game. You saw that too. So Sergio, talk us through being 6 goals down at halftime.
Yeah, it was so many emotions. Obviously, it was the first game of the season, so there was already a lot of emotions, anxiety, stress, nervousness. just being the first game of the season, add that to we're at home, we're down 6-0 at half, new GM, new coach. It's not a great look for sure. Um, so there was just a lot of moving things, moving parts. Honestly, it was just one of those days for the Santa Fe Gloom. Unfortunately, it was just one of those days, and um, I could say a lot about that first game, but ultimately, we just didn't perform and we didn't do what we needed to do to help the guys be ready to perform too. So that ultimately was the reason why we came out so flat-footed and we came out unprepared, and we're down 6-0. So at that moment, we came into the locker room, and Pat and I had a conversation in the little room. And we're like, "Look, man, at this point, let's just try some stuff." Pat, granted, he was only with Gloom for what was it, a week and a half, maybe two. So he was very new to the organization, to futsal, to the players that we had. He didn't really know everybody yet. So in that moment, we were just like, "Hey, look, at this moment, it's 6-0, let's just try some stuff and let's just figure things out." And that's what we did. And we kind of made it interesting a little bit in the second half, scored some goals, but ultimately didn't get the result. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. Learn from our mistakes, right?
Absolutely. And then following up on that second game against Flagship, we then lost by 1 goal or 2 goals. I think it was 6-4. See, I'm already stressing you out, Sergio. We're not even 7 minutes into this, and you're already pissed.
I just remember that game like it was yesterday. Oh my gosh! Let me start. I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut you off because I already.
Take off.
Gosh. So that game was way 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 better. It was close. It was, I think, 4-3. No, what was it? It was 4-3, and then like right before it was 3-3, and then right before the half ends, the refs call some crazy PK. I never seen that in my life. We go down 4-3 at halftime. So we're pushing for that the tying goal. And I just remember like the last, what was it, like the last couple minutes they scored another goal, and sometimes that happens, but I just remember that call right before the half. Literally, like as it was like a buzzer beater call.
Mm.
And then it just changed the whole game, I think. I mean, when you go into the locker room winning 3-2, it changes the whole demeanor. Regardless, we came out there and didn't do the job, and that was still only our second game too. So there was a lot of moving parts, moving players, figuring out positions, figuring out strategies. And it was Pat's third week, all right? Or
Yeah, just about.
so then that's what it was. I just remember that call right before the half, and I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
There was a buzzer beater call,
right,
and they scored it.
right. Yeah, and that kind of shifted the momentum back to Flagship essentially.
For sure. And Flagship's a good team. They're a very, very good team. They have Luis Lorea, who is one of the best in the state, if not the best. They have players like Luis Gonzalez. They have players like Tocarcito, and they ended up bringing some players from Mexico. But that's a really hard team to play against. So they came out and performed. That's all it takes.
Yeah, and for our viewers and guests, I mean, Flagship made it to the championship game
Hmm.
in Michigan. So yeah, they're no slouch for sure. So Sergio, so we're 0-2 at this
Mhm.
point. Again, you kind of covered it a little bit, but what's the direction and the philosophy now that we're 0-2 going into that Phoenix game against Los Unitas? What were we thinking? Because that was like a must-win game.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think that
Because we knew we had to turn it around.
yeah, I remember as some jokes being said, new GM, calling up a new GM, calling up a new coach. Just kidding, but no, I think for some reason I felt really calm during those moments after that first game, just because unfortunately it was going to be a learning experience for all of us. You know, Pat's new to futsal. It was my new a new job title for me as a GM. And more than that, like I said, a lot of these players that we had in the Gloom were different phases. There was different faces, sorry, in the Santa Fe Gloom. So we had new players that were coming on, and we had players in and out. So it was hard to kind of deal with that. But at the same time, we knew that we had a good core. So with that being said, I think the conversations with Pat and I were we needed to stay consistent to our values and what Santa Fe Gloom looked into a play, like what they expected out of a player. And if we did that, I think we were gonna be. I knew we were gonna be in a good spot. So going into that United game, we were just gonna play the people who were gonna show up to training, work hard, do what they've been told to do, and essentially compete and win. So with that mindset, I knew that we couldn't, go wrong. So that was kind of like the mindset coming into that United game.
Yeah, so exactly. So then we won that game 5-1. And then we had New Mexico Flagship back at home. We revenged that. We won 6-4. For me, that was a little bit harder of a game to remember, but that was at the Chavez Center. I don't know if you have anything to add to that game, but then we were on a 2-game winning streak at that point.
Yeah, I feel like the United game definitely changed our trajectory of our season because it gave us some confidence. Then we go and play against the Flagship. They added another one or two players from Colombia, or I don't know where they're from, and they're fantastic, fantastic players. So, like I said, Flagship's no slouch, and but we had the confidence and we had the players. That's when I felt the players started to be committed to the process and to the what Pat and I were trying to accomplish, and you could feel it. I mean, every single play, every single moment, you could hear the bench getting out of their seats and really being into the game. So that was a really good game. Everybody played well. I know that even the players that didn't play much, like for example Max, they essentially won us the game. He came on for a couple minutes, scored a goal, came right back off.
Yep.
And then Jose Gonzalez, right? He came on for a couple minutes, scored a nice little left footer. So, I mean, those are two valuable goals. We won by 2 goals. If we don't have those 2 goals, then we don't win that game. So it's just crucial that we have everybody locked in, and you could tell.
Yeah, I know. Pressy, I think he had a goal or an assist as well in that game. So that was great. And that kind of leads me to my next question. And we talk about this a lot, Sergio, and it's hard to kind of articulate to our fans, but I hope we can give them like what's inside our heads when it comes to recruiting players. So like, for example, New Mexico Flagship, what they typically do is they have a couple local players, but then they're buying players from other states or countries or whatever. They're coming in, and they're extremely good players and they win games. There's pros and cons to that. Sergio, if you can kind of share like what our Santa Fe Gloom philosophy is in terms of if we're recruiting players from other countries, other states, and like kind of how we stand with that and like our local philosophy with our players here in Santa Fe and Albuquerque.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm going to answer it the same way I've been answering it for the past 2 years. And that is that I truly believe that there is enough talent in New Mexico to compete with anybody in the country. And we show it. We showed it last year with only, 4 months being together. I know a lot of our players don't have the experience as these other national team players have, like, the Bruces players, the Flagship players, and all these other teams that have players from out of the country. But we have the technical abilities, we have the physical abilities, and we have it all to be able to perform. With that being said, the reason I took this job is because I believe in New Mexico talent. I'm not shying away from bringing somebody from out of the country, but I do want to stick with 95%, 97% New Mexican talent. And like I said, we showed it against Brusas, against Flagship. It was a really, really tight conference this year, and we beat Brusas the last game too, and they go and win the championship. So, and that's with 0 players from out of the country. That's all New Mexican talent. So that's my goal and that's my dream, is to show this country that New Mexico is good enough and that the players here are good enough to be considered top.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Eric, if you have anything to shine in on as well too, man, just jump on in.
Yeah, no, all good stuff. If I had anything to ask Sergio, Obviously, you feel like there's a strong talent pool in New Mexico to build a roster, or maybe you sustain, can maybe develop like a feeder program. You wouldn't shy away from bringing in anyone from like another country, but then you also kind of run into, there's someone that hasn't, that's coming in from someone that's super talented but not used to like maybe the Gloom culture. If you were to kind of import someone, like what were some of those, I guess, big time culture aspects that you're trying to instill in them right away so that they are getting along together? Because I think like playing together, the cohesiveness of a teamwork is more important than any individual player. Like what would your message be to someone that maybe you're trying to recruit from out of state or maybe out of country?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great question because David does a really good job of helping me center myself because there's a lot of options out, and we get messages all the time through the Santa Fe Gloom Instagram page, and Pat gets messages. I get messages from people that want to come play, and they're fantastic players. We talk about national team players here, players that have won, trophies in the CONCACAF or whatnot. But David does a good job of saying, "Hey, don't forget, let's stick to your values or to our values." And it always brings me back down to earth because yes, we want to bring in a fantastic player, yes, but are they going to train? Are they going to listen to the coach? Are they going to go and sign autographs after we lose a game just because we have to take care of the fans? Is he going to be able to fit well in the system that we want to play and share the ball? Because a lot of these players like to dribble a lot. So those are all things that we think about. And we also think about, like, what if things get hard? We were down two games. We're losing two games, and they want to go back home. Those are all details that we look at, and it's risky. So that's why we want to find the right fit. And if the right fit comes, we're going to take a look at it. And if it doesn't, I'm super confident with the talent here in New Mexico. With that being said, for anybody that's listening to me right now from out of the country, if you have any aspiration playing for the Gloom, we're looking for top class professionals that don't just perform, but also have the qualities to be coachable, be a good teammate, be a good leader, and then also do well for the community. And in putting the badge first, it's all about the badge, and that's the most important thing.
And then on top of that, like you don't want to turn away any local players. Maybe there are some local talent in New Mexico, Santa Fe, northern New Mexico that maybe aren't quite as skilled as someone from overseas or from around the country. But you don't want to give up on players like that either, because there's an aspect to having the grit, to having the characteristics that you're looking for. I mean, how do you view what the development, or like a developmental program under the Gloom badge? What does that look like in your eyes?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. The first thing that comes to mind is a player like Dre. He came on for the first year. This past year was his first year, and I could tell you right now, and he knows it too. He wasn't up to the standard that this league was asking for, but he's a competitor. He's a workhorse. He's coachable, and I thought he was one of the best players on their team, if not the league. Defensively, offensively, he was just a fantastic, fantastic player. So I think that me and Pat would rather have a player who is that same mindset, and we can coach him up, than to have to bring somebody from out of the country and he's constantly giving us issues and he's not really fitting in with the Gloom. On top of that, I do believe there's going to be something coming up in the next year or two. We'll see, where we are finding like younger talents and developing them, and that's what I'm really really excited about, because we're gonna be able to have them for since they're younger, and we can coach them up the way we want, and that's how true talent is going to be built here in New Mexico as well.
Now, David, as like the owner of that, I know that you've kind of put Sergio in charge of kind of being that recruiter, being that developmental person, like the director of all that. But how do you provide the resources to that? How do you connect with the New Mexico youth, not just Santa Fe, but northern New Mexico, and kind of all the different pockets of talent of soccer players that maybe aspire to play futsal or professional soccer that day? Like, how do you put a program like that together to kind of develop from within, because you're only going to be as good as your pipeline, right? And like the continuity and the development, and you just kind of pushing players through. How do you influence that from your seat?
Molten, that question was for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think what we've been doing right now, I think has really, really worked in terms of trying our best to get the best local talent. But I feel like it's really, and Sergio, you can speak on this. I think it's going to be really similar to what the New Mexico United is doing in their youth program, and just getting them as young as we can. I think that's just really the nuts and bolts of it, and reaching out to high schools, club teams. We all know that the Gloom, we have the best fans in the league. Everyone's coming out. But I just think it's more of the same. It's just having those good attitudes for our players. It's obviously word of mouth, but I think that is our next step, that myself, Sergio, and Coach Pat are thinking on, is how do we develop that youth system for the Gloom, for that pipeline. And I think it's just going out to schools, constantly working with our business partners, and just getting out there and having more exposure to the Gloom, to the younger kids. And Sergio, if you have anything else to add on that, but I think it's all about exposure and playing futsal wherever we're at. Coach Pat, we went out to Coach D Lake last week, and we were playing futsal just on the dirt, with kids. I mean, that's exactly what the Gloom is all about. It's completely just like, we don't need a court necessarily. We obviously don't need grass. Like, we're going to play and teach these kids the love of the sport and futsal, no matter where we're at in any community.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what you said. Because you guys are already, Santa Fe Gloom is already doing it. They're and one of the clubs that I look at is New Mexico United, and they do such a good job of getting out to all these little cities in New Mexico and doing these camps and talking to the kids and talking to the schools. And essentially, that's exactly what's going to help build the club. And I thought that they've been doing an amazing job. They do a great job. And Santa Fe Gloom has been doing that, like in Cochiti Lake. It was a great, fantastic camp. And that's just the way to do it.
Molten, any other questions?
Just more so around like organization development, building for year 4. Maybe just obvious. I think that you both probably had much higher hopes in season 3 than the outcomes were. But if that was one thing, if there was like one missing ingredient to season 3 that you think might have kind of taken you over the hump, maybe that's a player, maybe that's a couple of players. Like, what do you think that was?
Sergio, you want to answer that?
You go first, David. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. What would have got us over the hump was like 3 more games, because I think we were peaking towards the end. Mm-hmm. We beat all the teams towards the end of the season. So
that was going to be my answer, but in a different way. I was going to say, if we had this group and Pat a month and a half before the season started, then that would have changed the game. I had the same exact answer, just differently. Yeah. Just more time, a little more time.
It was more time. And it just, we were peaking towards the end. Mm-hmm. And that was going to be kind of my follow-up question to you, Sergio, was towards the end of the season, like, what was working? Why did we beat Brusa, Flagship, Los Unitas towards the end of the year? And then the follow-up question to that is, how do we bring that into season 4? Mm-hmm. Because we don't want to be down 6-0 at half ever again.
Yeah. And that was the only game. Every other game was won by 1 goal, if that.
Well, even that game was 11-8.
Yeah, we came
in the second half.
Exactly. I'm going to give you 2 answers. The first answer is going to be from a coaching perspective, and the second answer is going to be as a player's perspective, what I think I saw. As a coaching perspective, honestly, Pat and I had multiple conversations, and I think ultimately what we ended up doing is playing the guys who are committed, playing the guys who are competing, playing the guys who are not, divas or it was all about them. And we're just playing the guys that said, hey, I want to win because the club is more important than who I am. Whether my role is playing 1 minute or my role is playing 20 minutes, whatever it is, I'm here for the badge. And that's the players that we played. And it worked. And that was the coaching perspective. There's a lot more to that, but that was the first thing that comes to mind. As a player, I mean, I've never seen Peter perform as good as he did last season ever. And that's a true testament to his commitment to the team. I asked him a lot. I asked a lot of him before the season started, and he hit every single bullet point, and which was be more consistent, score more goals. He was a leading scorer of the Gloom. On the stat sheet, it doesn't show it because the last 4 goals he scored, they gave it, I think, to Presi, I believe. So
Oh,
we
really?
might have to fix that.
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Let me see. Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can't hear you for some reason.
Hmm.
All right. We'll see if it keeps going. Am I still good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. We'll see if I don't know. I can't hear you right now, but I'll just keep talking.
Okay.
But the other stuff that I was thinking about is like Dre was playing fantastic too towards the end of the season. Leo, the Venezuelan, he was playing pretty good, and then obviously the backbone of the team. You know, Brian was obviously 4 goals last game, like just like Peter, defensive beast, and that was just all on them. That type of performance is based on their dedication and their hard work. And it's not just those guys. I mean, we had Max, we had Jose come in and play a crucial role. We had Elias playing. He's 16 years old playing against Brusas. Like, come on. He had to do some hard work there. We had Presi, we had Jaime, Chile, and we had all these players that just committed to playing and winning games. And that's what ultimately won us the last couple games.
Great. No, thank you, Sergio. And
Yeah, I can't hear anything. Let's see.
our audience can hear us. I think it's your audio,
Huh.
Sergio.
I can't hear you. There's nothing.
Yeah, I think Eric is doing some back end stuff on the audio.
I cannot hear anything right now. Let's see. Should I click out and back in? Okay.
Molten, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I could hear Sergio too. I'm not sure what
Yeah,
happened.
I think it was Sergio's audio, I think.
Yeah, it was my audio. I can hear you guys now. Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think our audience could hear all of us. Futsal News, good looking out. Appreciate it. They just put in the chat all loud and clear. So
Okay, it was me. It's probably my Wi-Fi, but I have full bars.
it's all good.
Now that I can hear you guys, I'm just gonna end it as
Keep going, Sergio.
we played the guys that were gonna die for the badge, and the guys performed. The guys truly performed, and it was a team collective attitude.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have Peter. I mean, he was the MVP of all the seasons, and definitely he just does all the dirty work essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It's really that simple.
Exactly.
Let's go here. DJ Cuco, appreciate you jumping on. And what was our best and worst statistic this season? I don't know, sir. Do you want to take a stab at that? Calling to all of our listeners and fans, we need a statistician, please.
Yeah, I have no clue. How was our record at home? And how was our record away? Let me think.
How about attendance numbers?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, attendance numbers, we were at like 350 for sure on average, I feel like. At least.
That has to be a league best, right?
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah, I would say so. 350. I've already told Sergio and Pat that at the Chavez Center, our opening game, we're going to have over 500 people there. And there they are. Our worst statistic,
Look
So
how
our
packed
best
that is.
seats
Wow.
yeah, exactly. So we've counted those seats, by the way, Sergio and Eric. Those blue seats there, myself and DJ Kigo we went out to the Chavez Center and we counted each seat, and I feel like it was 280. And then we've got the other bleachers that we're going to put in the four corners. And I think each of those bleachers was like 70 and like 80 or something. There's like 4 or 5 of them. I'm not really good at math, but somehow, some way it does equal like 500 seats. So we're gonna pack the house because, as you know, Sergio, at those games, certainly at the Chavez Center, it's a great environment because everybody's kind of on top of each other, and it's super loud. So
Here's another question for you, Dave, and it's actually the Chavez Center, but is this the official home moving forward?
yeah, I think we're gonna play the majority of our games at the Chavez Center. And Sergio and I, we've gone back and forth, Coach Pat. That's actually a really good conversation topic that maybe we can have at a later time. But really good question, Futsal News. Definitely the first game. I'm partial to Santa Fe High to some degree, just because you have a big gym space. And yeah, that's a good question. It's throwing me off. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's answer it.
Yeah. Let me finish my thought.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So, at Santa Fe High School, we can literally pack 1,000 people at least 1,000, and they have really good locker rooms. And it has Santa Fe on the gym. So it's just a really good vibe. Logistically, it's a little bit more difficult just to plan our events. And at the Chavez Center, the Gloom has always been all about community. And we always feel very strongly that we want to bring a Gloom concept to our local community in a community center. So that's extremely, extremely important. So I do think the Chavez Center, it may not be the official home, but we're definitely going to really strive to have more home games there. The Chavez Center has on average like 600 people going into that place. So we want advertisements and marketing for a home team at the Chavez Center. So, and Sergio, I don't know if you have anything else to add, but that was really a good topic of conversation for us in the off season. And I know some of the guys, we did like a little poll, and I know they were kind of leaning towards Santa Fe High School a little bit. But I know they really love the Chavez Center, and I think if we can get 500 people in the Chavez Center, it's going to be amazing. Milton, back to you.
Well, more on the topic of the Chavez Center, like what are some of the pros of playing there? I think it might not have the seating capacity that Santa Fe High does, but it has the openness to kind of partner with the city a little bit more.
Yep.
Probably more accessible locker rooms for both teams.
Yep.
Maybe the wall space like area for signage, because if you want to hang Gloom banners or advertising, I think they'd probably be more open to that versus working with like the Santa Fe Public Schools. You have the track up above too, and then you just have like the existing foot traffic that's just there at the center, so more exposure that way too. And I don't know if Sergio maybe might not be as familiar with Santa Fe, but I mean, what do you see as like maybe some of the pros and cons of the center being like the permanent home of the Gloom, or maybe for the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think personally, as a player myself, well, first let me say that's why I let David do. I don't like to get into that too much because he does ask us in our opinion, but there's so much that goes into that: logistics, cost, like everything goes into it. And David is the mastermind there. For me as a player, I always like to play in a situation where it makes it hard for the other team, and the Travis Center has It definitely has that vibe. It's tight. It's compact. Like if you ever had a game outside of the state, and you have, let's say, 300 fans, but it's packed, and the lines are literally 2 feet from the bench or from the fans. It's hard. These guys are yelling in your ear. It's loud in there. It's hard to play in those environments. That's why I love the Travis Center, because guys don't want to play there. I promise you, they don't want to play there. It's loud. People get rowdy, and I think we have a positive record there. So that has something to do with it. Whether the players like it, I don't know what that is there. But that, me personally, that's what I love about it. And there's always people there, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on over there?" And then you can say, "Come check it out. Come look at it." And then they see it, and everybody's yelling. It's tight. It's a fun time. It's like a concert going on in there, but instead we have people sliding against each other, sometimes punching each other, scoring goals. It's just all emotions, and it takes you through a roller coaster. And I bet you, people really love that.
How would you both of you guys compare it to the opposing places that you guys play around the league? Like the Chavez Center, how does it hold up? Like, is it one of the nicer venues? Is it very similar to other places?
Sergio, you want me to answer that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I feel like at least last season, New Mexico flagship at Pancho's futsal court facility, I really like that. I think if there could be like improved seating, then I think that could be one of like the premier venues. Um, but I would say environment wise, Chavez Center and Santa Fe High School and the Gloom, I think for me, obviously I'm biased, but by far is the best futsal environment for sure in the league. I don't think there's any question. There's no other team that has a live DJ. There's no other team that gets hundreds of fans. And I just think it's just a great party for the local community. So, Sergio, I don't know if you have anything else to add there, but
I agree. I mean, when I went to even like unite this spot, I mean, like you never want to talk down on anybody at all. We're talking about ourselves, our standards, and our standards are definitely very, very high. Live DJ prices, um, halftime shows. Sometimes you have a national anthem being played by the violinist. There's just so much that goes into that production that I just didn't see in other places. And that's just, all goes to David being the mastermind.
Molten.
I got nothing else. Yeah, you guys, yeah, coming up on 40 minutes already. Crazy how
Yep.
fast the conversation really takes off.
I got
Yeah.
something real quick.
Go ahead, Sergio.
I think this past year I felt a little shift, and I really want to talk about this. Not just with the Gloom, but with the league. I feel like things are going to move forward in a positive way. And I saw Pablo commented. By the way, Pablo, thank you so much for tuning in, and we look we look forward to playing against you too. It's always a fun rivalry, and you do a good job with recruiting and coaching. Obviously, you're in the finals, so can't wait to play you guys again. It's gonna be a fun time. And Ian's doing a great job with the Burke Ballers, and you can just feel the competitive but togetherness growing from New Mexico, and I love that because one, I love being competitive, but I love helping each other. So I know a lot of us can feel it, and I'm just really excited for next year.
Yeah, I agree. Pablo, congratulations on a great season, New Mexico flagship. You guys did great representing New Mexico out in Michigan. Came super close to beating Bruce in the finals. So congratulations on a great season. And Ian, appreciate all the hard work, man. I mean, his Instagram's so cool. Like he does free it's like bootcamp babies or something like that. Like it's just super, super cool. And sorry, Ian, if I'm totally crushing that name, but just everything that you do is super great, and would love to have you on our podcast at some point too.
That'd be great.
Molten, thanks, man. Thanks for having Sergio and I on. And if you want to close this out, I don't know what Pablo's saying there in the chat.
He's moving on to Futsal Champions Series League this season. I don't know what that is.
Pablo, what is that? He'll write us back. Give him a couple seconds.
Yeah, I'm really curious. I've never heard of it. Futsal Champions Series League this year. All right. Well,
Yeah, while he's responding to you guys, yeah, I think another solid episode. Sergio, is nice to unofficially meet you through this live stream, but I think what you guys are doing and what you've done by joining the organization has been positive, and I agree with you on sharing the sentiment that there's momentum, man, and this is growing. I think you're partnering with David is smart. David's a sharp guy. He's persistent. Continue to work with the city and the Northern New Mexico youth, and continue to build those pipelines and spread the awareness. But I'm cheering you guys on. I'm supporting you the best that I can. And then David, I don't know what you want to line up or maybe announce for what episode 4 might look like for the GloomCast, but we've been consistent with this and have been on live for the last 3 Sundays. So I think we're planning to do this for a majority of the summer.
Yeah, I think we can probably bring Coach Pat on and a couple of our Gloom players as well too. So I just think it's more of the same. We just want to be as consistent as we possibly can with our fans and just updating them and getting inside our minds on how to create a professional futsal team.
Yeah, and I'll let you sign off with making sure you mention all your sponsors.
Yeah, Molten, thank you so much for having us. Sergio, thanks. And to all
Anytime.
of our sponsors, without you guys, we cannot do this. Pantry Dose of Santa Fe, City of Santa Fe Economic Development, St. Vincent's Foundation, Del Norte Credit Union, thank you so much. La Fonda, Sam's Club, Mercedes-Benz, Age-Friendly Senior Care. I don't know if I skipped over Capital Ford, but Capital Ford, Zach, thank you so much. Without your support, we cannot do it. So thank you so much for the Santa Fe Gloom live stream. David Fresquez, Eric Moulton, thank you so much. Sergio Rivas, we look forward to season 4. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon.
Swing big and save even